Oh boy, the Olympics are getting a hold of me, so I'll just start with that. Shelter FootyCast live from BackChat Studios. Man, I was up late watching gold.
Were you?
I was up so late. I love the Olympics. Yeah, I love it. How are you, Skeeter?
Good. Yeah, I was in bed about 9 o'clock. So I watched.
Mate.
I watched a little doco on a little thing on TV, a series on TV. Then went to bed.
Mate, I was watching the women's team archery, China v South Korea. I know everything there is to know about women's archery. Everything.
Brilliant.
It was incredible feat of sporting. Brilliant. South Korean team, never been beaten in 40 years, and they got it done against the Chinese. And then I watched Jess Fox. So
She's a star.
I'm a little bit tired, but that's okay.
You're not going to do that for 2 weeks, are you?
Yeah,
really?
Probably will. Yeah. I get right stuck into it. And talking about getting stuck into things, I'll just give you a little preview, Skeeter. Shelter Hazy is about to drop. So just make sure you're watching across here and shelterbrewing.com.au. There's a hazy beer dropping, Skeeter. I might have to bring a sample in for you to trial on the podcast. I'd like to see your reaction.
Well, I know I had a couple of shelters after the Derby when I got home on Saturday night. Very quiet night because I'd filled the trunk up on Friday at a luncheon.
You were invited to a secondary function run by BackChat Studios.
Yeah, I know.
One of your employers.
Exactly. And Lee Spur said to me at 4 o'clock, I'll come and grab you and we'll go there about 5 o'clock. At 6 o'clock, I'm still waiting at the Camfield. And
you were waiting or you
No, I was waiting
drinking?
for him to pick me up.
Were you just drinking your way through the time?
And while he was away, I was drinking. And as he turned up at 5 to 6, I said, mate, I'm cooked. I can't string 3 words. No, I was ready to go and home watch the footy.
Victoria doesn't listen to this, mate. You can say how you actually were.
And I'll beat her home, which is very important. Very, very good. Whippersnapper on your head as well. That's good to see.
That's right.
I've got to get a pay-wise cap from Frankie Agostino.
Just keep the sponsors to yourself, okay? This is the Shelter FootyCast. ShelterFootyCast.com.au. You can send us an email. We'd love to hear from you. FootyCast@backchatstudios.com.au. Skeeter, Derby week in the bag, done and dusted for another year. It was actually a pretty good game.
It gets a tick. Gets a really positive result in terms of the spirit, the energy, the feistiness. I think the result was the best one for WA footy, believe it or not, just because, I know if you're a West Coast supporter, but I think now that the Eagles we know where they're at, the Dockers, I think unless you really hate them, why not hopefully see them advance to hopefully another big finals campaign. But yeah, good game of footy, and I thought the way it panned out was probably terrific. 13 points the Eagles led by at half-time. Their forward pressure, which of course was non-existent against the Saints, and yeah, I think there'd be a bit to take out of it from an Eagles perspective, and also likewise for Freo. There
was rumours that this was going to be a physical and spiteful one. Why do you think it actually did that? Because there was a fair bit in this all night, especially in the midfield. There was Fifey looked a bit grumpy, and Andy Brayshaw was sort of clipping blokes off the ball, and people were clipping Andy Brayshaw off the ball, and then there was decent little brawl.
There's fines. There's players going to be fined over it, and obviously we've got the 3 suspensions there.
14 players received fines, not just a couple. There's only $35,000. That's a good footy trip in the bin for both these teams. So they could have thought about that, perhaps.
So how does that work out again?
Comes out of their back pocket, mate. A skyrocket.
So I think you've told me this. You have to transfer money.
I'm not. What?
No, I'm just saying how you. So if I'm fined $3,000 for having a wrestle or melee with you, I have to actually physically go in, or do they just debit from you?
No, it just comes out. You don't have to. You don't have a BSB and account number for the AFL. Andrew Dillon receives this. No, so that'll be a bit of money transferring hands, and 3 players fined: Fife, Petruccelli, and Hutchinson. Fifey clipped Jai Cully off the footy. Petruccelli went through a falling Sean Darcy.
I feel sorry for him with getting a week for that. That's just my opinion again.
And Jack Hutchinson, what did he do?
Well, he did. They were trying to compare it to the Angus Brayshaw Maynard smother, which I think's right. So he jumped in the air, clipped him on the way down, or got him on the way down. So I think that suspension comes off the back of what we saw with the rule change. It wasn't really a smother because I think he hand passed the ball. I might be wrong, but either way, it certainly didn't have the same ferocity as the Maynard hit.
So this is the new strict interpretation from the AFL. Looking forward to see how all these 3 go. I reckon they'll all get challenged.
Yes, I expect at least 2 of the 3 to go. I would have thought Fife would probably do the same, given what we've seen already this year. Jesse Hogan is one that you pointed out quite regularly on this.
Yep, he punched someone in the head.
As
did Fifey. So if they challenge that,
you say punch, so mate, that makes it sound like it was a full blown hook type. No, I don't. It wasn't a. It was.
But
a little jab.
Look, I frightfully bring this up I don't think Andrew Gaff was a punch. He got 8 weeks and he broke someone's jaw. I wouldn't say that was a punch. I don't think he was trying to knock Andy Brayshaw out.
He wasn't
I frightfully bring that up because I'm sure Freo fans will be prickling up. Don't worry, I'm not defending it. I'm just saying, punch is a punch. If you make a fist, you punch someone.
There are also levels of force behind
but
it.
That's like saying,
levels of force behind it. Well, that's why we go back to the Jesse Hogan one. If that was a punch, clearly there wasn't enough force. I don't know whether there was enough force with the Fife one either, to be totally honest with you.
No, I don't think so either.
But that's who knows? In the next 24 hours, I agree with you. I think there'll be some challenges. Fremantle, why not roll the dice to get your captain? Or conversely, is it not a bad time to give him just a spell? Or is that probably not the thing?
Well, he spelled himself, hasn't he? So
well, I'm saying in terms of take the suspension and then.
Maybe he was pretty good, I thought.
Yeah, he was.
We'll break down the game in just a second. Look, again, I always get scared in the two-team town, sort of coming at one side and sort of leave one alone. But Harley Reid getting booed, I found that interesting. I found that intriguing to watch.
Not surprising, I don't think, because I think when you've got and it's not of his doing in the West most days even. So look at this on the front page of the game. Just it's there for all to see. He's got a bit of plays on the edge a bit with a bit of that antagonistic behaviour. I had people saying on radio yesterday to me, I needs to really tone it down and do this and do that. I said, look, he probably needs to temper some of his ways with regards to giving away free kicks and goals. That's obvious because you don't want to be doing that regularly. But I think he had 29 disposals, 10 clearances. That's how it looks to me how he plays his best footy in that manner. Now, he's just have to, and guess what? It's in his first year. He'll tweak a bit of that as he gets more mature. He's a baby in footy terms. So, Docker supporters, boo what you like. I can guarantee now, if you had the chance to have him on your list tomorrow, you'd have him.
You could not have said that any better, Skeeter. Tweak this, tweak that, correct. He's 19 years old. He just needs to make a couple of adjustments. He doesn't need to stop doing anything. He needs to be aggressive to players. He needs to continue to be physical. If he's doing this now, imagine what he'll be doing in 2, 3, 4 years. He's had 29 and 10 clearances in a derby. West Coast best player again.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to stop doing anything. And I'm serious about that. Elliot Yeo, what he was able to do off the footy and take him away from losing any money in the fines, he needs more of that. He needs more support around him. He needs just to play footy. That's what Harley needs to worry about.
But it feels like he also enjoys that physical stuff. Seems to bring the best out of him. Yeah.
That's why he plays well. So I've seen a lot of it over the weekend. Can't be doing this, can't be doing that. He can do whatever he wants.
No, here's the counter argument. If he didn't get a touch on the weekend or had 5 touches for the night and was carrying on like a pork chop and pushing and shoving, then you can start addressing it. That you could see brought the best out. And, after the game, he was smiling, shaking, not smiling because they lost. He was shaking hands. He knew that's part of that 3 hour, 2.5 hour window. That's his.
He's on the edge.
Absolutely.
He's on the edge, and it's not Nick Dacos's edge. So Nick Dacos,
different.
He gets like what he did on the weekend. Like he does it through work rate and always on the move and being smarter than his opponent. That's why Nick Dacos is good. And even Harry Sheasel probably in the same. They're not Harley Reid. Harley Reid's in a different sort of base where he's playing on the edge all the time. And when you're young and you're on the edge, you get to made silly a few times, but like you don't learn unless you stuff up.
Exactly.
And that's in life as well. So
100%.
stopping the physical nature and stopping being on the edge and maybe giving a free kick away or two, that'll make him a worse player.
The other thing, and it's just a part of his development, education, and Glenn Jakovic said this on air and we were doing radio together and I completely agree with him. At times he played like he was still playing schoolboy footy where tried to do a little bit too much. But these are just absolutely minor moments in what is the development. And you know what? I don't think the booing would give him any grief at all. He just rolls with that and he knows that if you're a good player. I mean, you think of some of the blokes that have been booed coming to Perth over the journey, and that's from West Coast supporters and you've had James Hird booed at Subiaco Oval. Dermot Brereton, he's been the villain over the years.
Yes.
You've seen Andrew Gaze booed after they won an NBL championship by Wildcat supporters, one of the great blokes of all time. So I think you've got to be careful about Eagle supporters getting too precious about being booed. Docker supporters, go for your heart. As you say, you pay your money.
That would be why people blowing up about the Andrew Gaff being booed or people blowing up about others being booed. I don't see the problem in it. I find it interesting. I find it interesting to watch and how the mob
people are so
mentality
angry.
Yeah, people are so angry.
If you do boo, they think you're being unsportsmanlike. If I'm 100% with you. You go to the footy, and we saw something at the weekend involving Liam Ryan, which I'm not quite sure what transpired there. But bottom line is,
get out for that. See you later.
If you're forever.
If you're being a racist in the stands, get out forever.
I wasn't even aware of what. All I heard or saw was that there was apparently a slitting of the throat, which was some.
Yep.
Is that it?
See you later. Do we need to be making? If that's a death threat, or I don't think we need that.
Well, Sheeds did that. I'm saying if it was racial, which you think it might have been, well, probably was. I don't know. I have no idea what was said or the indication, but someone said some bloke slid his throat and got kicked out. So.
Okay, good. See you later. Don't come back. Just go watch it from home. If you can't control yourself and you're doing that, if you do that at a nightclub, you probably get hit in the face.
Yeah, but Sheeds did it as a coach.
Yeah, well,
and he got fined.
I think we've probably learned a little bit since Kevin Sheedy was coaching as well. He probably did a few things. Will Schofield, Mark Redding, Show FootyCast. Let's break down the derby in terms of playing sense. Caleb Sarong wins his third Glendenning Allen medal, picked by you, Mark Redding.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't picked by me. It definitely wasn't picked. I helped select the judges.
Calm down.
No, you said it was selected by me. I didn't select the winner. I don't know where this comes from. Is that you numpty?
Cheers. I'll tell you what, we've got a prickly Mark Redding.
No.
Skeeter, you picked him to win the medal on this podcast on Thursday.
Did I pick him?
You just calm down.
I thought you were talking about I picked the judges. No, I didn't pick him. Oh, sorry. I've lost. I had a day off for a while.
Joe Biden. Well done.
Joe. I tell you what, you'll be like Joe Biden after you play touch rugby on Thursday. Anyway,
we should get a some sort of camera down there to watch me in action.
Watch you, absolutely.
I'd love to see you down there.
So I selected
you picked the winner.
Did I?
I was giving you whatever it is.
Kudos.
Yes, that's it. I was giving you a pat on the back.
Yeah, so I
thought
you. I thought you were talking about. No, I thought you were talking. I was one of the judges. No. So, as you know, Scotty Cummings, Ryan Daniels, and Eliza Riley.
Well, there was no.
No, they didn't announce it, which is I don't know.
Sorry, there was no. People aren't critical of this, are they?
I don't think so. I think though you could mount an argument for Andy Brayshaw.
Yeah.
Did you concur with that?
30. He was by Champion Data ranking points. He was the number one ranked player on the ground, and Sarong was about 10th. So
10th.
Yeah, he was quite low.
Yeah, I thought Brayshaw myself. Probably again, I was in and out doing different bits during the night at the ground. So, but yeah, what you would have had? Who would you have given 3 votes to?
I was pointing at Brayshaw while I was on air for Fox Footy while we were in silence. I was saying I'd pick him, but I don't know. These votes, they're difficult to give, and people usually look at the touches and I don't know.
But did Brayshaw...
Yeah, had more. I don't know. Sarong 9 votes, Brayshaw 6, and Young 3. Everyone went exactly the same. Don't think there was probably anyone else. It was a bit of a rough start for West Coast. Zane True knocked out in the first centre bounce of the game. He's been pretty... I've liked sort of how he's built and seeing some things for him. So that was a difficult start for West Coast.
So ideally, he was going to go to Caleb Sarong and
Is that right?
Look after him for the night. That was my information. So that was quickly cut short. I wonder. I think with the likes of Zane True, Luke Edwards, Jared Schofield, is he trying to find out? Okay, what will these guys be able to bring to the table moving forward? In Zane's case, you've always said the Eagles need, and a lot of clubs need, a tagger, a cooler, whatever you want to call it. Could Zane True be that player? Because Domashee was put in that role briefly at times. Zane True didn't get his chance because of injury, but he went to hospital, I think, to get a check on his neck. So he'll miss some footy.
Talking about West Coast for a little longer, Jack Williams, I thought he shouldn't be dropped for 2 years, I reckon. Just leave him in and let him play and develop. He was good. From 13 touches and a goal, for a young, tall player, just leave him.
We said that for a while, though, Scully. I mean, that's that to me. And look, absolutely, fully respect Adam Simpson and his coaching department at the time, but he had a bad game against the Saints. He was dropped, but as part of, you're going to get 20 or 30, 40 games into him as quickly as you can. I would have thought you're going to have to wear a couple of those bad games. So I totally agree with you. This is becoming a bit nauseating, the fact we're both agreeing on this.
Yeah, no, it's disgusting. Harry Edwards was good. Very good. So there's a couple of grass shoots for you. But Freo, I was really impressed with their game. They were challenged.
Physically.
Physically. West Coast played like they had nothing to lose. I just was impressed by the game they played, because this was a side that had a lot to lose, like Freo. Like, this was top 4 type stuff, and they were down by almost 2 goals at half time.
Yeah, 13 points, and they kicked 11 of the last 13 goals. So it shows you the dominance they had, which I think the players sort of, they know that the Eagles struggled to put together 4 quarters. As it turns out, it was the third quarter they just really got hold of them, and the game was effectively over, and you could just feel that Fremantle had control, the way they ran the footy, they transitioned it really well, and so that's probably the difference between the two clubs at the moment. One can put together 4 decent quarters, and the other spasmodically.
Sean Darcy had 50 hit-outs effectively. How did you see that incident? And it was almost a double incident. Petruccelli's got suspended, but then there was another one sort of straight after him, and he was down the ground.
Well, Sean came off. Now, I thought he was holding his wrist or his arm.
I thought he was holding his...
his groin.
Yeah.
Whatever it was. No one was sure what he'd injured himself with. He came back on. Look, I feel sorry for Jack Petruccelli in that incident, because he's running. Darcy goes to ground, and you're just cruising past. I think it's a little bit like the Liam Ryan Stocker one from the week before. A little bit like that, maybe.
Yes.
But Liam Ryan didn't have a case to answer, so obviously he's in more trouble than that.
Yeah, I just thought it's just going to be an interesting one, given the concussion stuff that Sean Darcy's dealt with this year, and there was head knocks. Like, Petruccelli's been charged with high rough contact, and then he clashed heads, Sean Darcy, and then that was a strange one. So I reckon that's a bit of a watch. I reckon there's a bit of a watch on a couple of West Coast players as well for this week, whether they'll play next. West Coast season
done,
and I don't mean that in terms of. I mean their mindset. Like, they now have nothing for the last 4 years, 4 weeks. So
what do? Do you actually consciously say to Jack Darling, thanks, Jack, we're going to put you back to the waffle and give Archer Reid...
We probably should.
Archer Reid a look, to see what this young kid can do, because you're not going to,
Probably should.
Yeah, those types of selections, I think, are probably... And you get the feeling that's been the sort of the vibe around the place, that the Eagles will have a real crack last weekend, and moving forward, they'll obviously expose their list a lot more and see what's there, and see if there's players that can keep their jobs next year.
So Matt Flynn played in the waffle on the weekend, had 42 hit-outs. It's like...
Seems strange.
He should
if he's fit
in the
to
side.
That level, yeah, you'd think he'd play.
Dom Sheed had 30 touches. Andrew Gaff had 30 touches. They're pretty competitive against Subiaco. I'm just looking for your man Reid.
Reid didn't have so like Clay Hall, I think about 11 or 12 disposals, Clay Hall.
Yeah. Reid had 6 and kicked 2-1.
But,
3 shots on goal.
Yeah. So, and he kicked, I think, a couple of goals prior to that against West Perth. So, and he travelled with the team to face St Kilda, didn't play, of course. So, no, I think we're just going to have a look at, some of these kids. They might not be quite ready, but, I'm prepared to do that. The other question I'll ask you, Sco, is with 4 to go, are you comfortable with a farewell game if the club organise that for, say, Andrew Gaff, for as an argument, as one of the players that could be...
No, I've never been a farewell game guy, to be honest. I think
if he's playing decent footy, I'd have him in the side in the last game of the season. Where are they playing? I think playing Geelong.
Who'd you drop?
Oh, doesn't matter. I dropped someone out of that midfield.
So drop Luke Edwards?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So that's the thing you got to consider.
Yeah, I would.
And does that get...
Does it achieve much? No, but I think it acknowledges someone who's contributed to your club.
Put him in a car per game if you want to.
You can't. They're playing in Geelong.
Okay.
Put him in a car driving to Geelong.
That's even more reason. What, you're going to send him off down in Geelong?
I don't know. I'm asking you the question.
Okay, so if you ask the question in Geelong, no, certainly.
So do you give him?
Does nothing.
So they play. I think who do they play around 23? Is it Carlton?
If you want to get sent off, don't play. Go around the car. If you want to just get on with things and get on with your life, I would do that. That's my opinion. And then you can whinge about it in the media for the next 3 years, like I've done.
Yeah, exactly.
So look, on Freo's side of things, that they're a decent chance to finish in the top 2 on the ladder.
Absolutely.
And if they do that and they get a home qualifying, and they can win that, they'll make the grand final.
Yeah.
Whether they can win it or not.
I'm not going to get that far. All I'll say is I think they're well placed, and I'm being conservative, to get to a prelim final from here. Well placed.
Yeah.
I mean, that's conservative, but I think you've got to be realistic. Given the nature of this season, Scully, it's just been so fickle. But, I know we'll go through the other game shortly, but there's quite a few teams around them.
If they get a home qualifying, they make the grand final. Guaranteed. You heard it.
Nothing's guaranteed.
That is, I can tell you that right now, Skeeter. Let's. Hey, did you happen to see Ash Hansen's interview? Well, I don't know what it was.
Mitch Cleary got him. It must have been pre-game before the Friday night match against the Power. Of course, he's Carlton assistant coach.
So Ash Hansen is one of the top candidates, and when we say that, it just seems a name that's being thrown out. We don't know if he's a top candidate.
No, and as soon as you threw out Adrian Hickmont's name, suddenly that gained traction, which I just
Have you
laughed.
seen
I did
that?
laugh. I thought,
People start talking about it.
seriously, Scott. No, but you generally believe it, which is fine. And
I've seen Mark Reddings coach a few junior footy teams in my time. I think there could be a bit of a dark horse coming into the race.
I think if you want someone to come and go to Paris in the next week, this guy has done it before. He's commentated gymnastics in London, and he did a bloody good job.
Get Skeet to Paris.
We're going to try and get plenty of places, you and I, in the next 12 months or 18 months, just to get it out of Perth just for a breather. But what was the discussion? Ashley Hansen.
Yes.
Yeah, so...
Mitch Cleary. Did you see the interview?
I did. I listened to it. I played it on radio this morning.
Strange.
Well, look, I understand Ash essentially just straight batted everything with regards to the possibility of talking to the Eagles. He's with the Carlton Footy Club, I understand that, but he gave such nondescript answers. Instead of saying, look, I've got ambitions to coach at the top level, as they all do, surely. Every assistant coach at some stage has got that, and he's well and truly in that area. Why didn't you say, look, if they called me, obviously Carlton's my priority, but I'm happy to look at that down the track. He didn't give any of that. I thought he was trying to be very respectful, as he said. But
I don't want to overreact, Skeeter, but I was like, well, mate, if that's how you're going to answer a couple of questions about a pretty obvious answer and a pretty obvious discussion, I don't know how you're holding up after getting done by 20 goals, you know?
Yeah, I see where you're coming from, but you can sort of see what he's trying to do. He doesn't want to...
Sure.
But you can still say, I'd love to have a chat to them when the time is right. Isn't that's what I think Jamie Graham's on that.
I think Ash Hansen would like his time again with his answering. It was...
Is she scared of maybe upsetting Carlton? I don't know. We know what it's like.
Good gosh. Just say it how it is. What's wrong with just saying how it is?
Well, you can be discreet or can be subtle about it. But
I'd love to coach. I've been an assistant coach for this many years. I'd love to be a head coach, but right now I'm coaching for Carlton, and we want to win. We want to win a grand final, and I'd like to do that first, and then we'll talk about it.
You should be a media manager. That's good. No, I like it.
Like going on and on and on.
Poor old Mitch Cleary, he was doing his best work. I like Mitch. He was having, and he did what you have to keep following up, and then he said, "I'm sorry, I've got to ask this again, and maybe give me an answer, you numbskull."
Will Schofield, hi, ready to show the FootyCast. Have you ever called anyone a numbskull when they won't answer your questions? Have you had any memorable where you just kept going?
Oh, no, I've had John Worsfold give me some, and we get on really well. But he's giving me the death stare. And
What we asking?
I don't know, but it might have been something. It doesn't matter what it was. No. Back in the day, because what you find in brief, coaches, when they are contending, I find them as prickly as at any time. And John was like that. Mick Malthouse was like that. It's when Woosha was with your group, dare I say, when I was Wooden Spoon territory. I'm not saying relaxed, but there wasn't that fire and brimstone. It's when you're in that period as a club against Sydney and 205, 206, and just on edge. So he's copped me. Ross at time, Mick Malthouse, everyone was scared of me. I was a young bloke then, and Mick had just run the agenda that he wanted to do. But I say that now. It was great to have a press conference with Mick Malthouse as a younger bloke, because he was genuinely didn't like us.
On the offensive as well.
Oh, yeah.
As in, he'd be on the attack.
Oh, yeah, on the attack. And you might ask him a question about, how they played poorly on the weekend. He then would say, right, don't worry about that. Let's go and have a look at the ground at Subiaco. It's cut up here. And so he turned the narrative into what he wanted to. But he was good at that. And look, he scared people. He got into the face of guys like Luke Morfess and others.
Were you ever scared? You wouldn't have been scared by him. Woosha. I was scared of Woosha.
I was scared of Woosha, yeah, of course. And no, when he looked at you and he thought, no, it was a genuine
You felt like you were going to get shirt fronted something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm standing 15 feet away as a media representative. You've got to actually put your kahunas on the line and try and win a footy for him.
Oh, buddy. He used to get out at training and look like that. Like if he was pissed off, he'd get the bump bags out and he'd be on the bump bags. Oh, yeah. You're just like, okay. Right. Didn't sign up for this.
You sit and have a coffee with him And it's like...
Best bloke ever, the pharmacist. Yeah, he's the best bloke ever.
It's just Clark Kent.
It's like Wisher. I ask him now, he's finished. Like, what the fuck did you turn into, mate? What were you? Some sort of split personality. Hey, let's get back to the footy. It was a good night, by the way, down at Leederville Hotel that you missed.
Yeah, I did miss it.
It was a brilliant one. Had about 250 people down there at the Leedy Hotel.
Is there a case to do that a little bit more for you down the track? Bit of the response was huge.
I would have liked you down there because I don't like hosting as much as you do. I'm not as good at it as you are.
Can I say this, Scully? After being at lunch that day, having had some white wine, then going and having 4 or 5 pints, and then having 4 or 5 bourbons, do you think I was in any shape to be hosting on air?
Maybe don't shift to the bourbons by like 4 p.m. So,
I was thirsty.
Like I would have enjoyed it. I don't know about anyone else, but I would have enjoyed your hosting. But it was a great night down there, and we watched this one, Skeeter. And I will just say, and gamble responsibly, we had a couple of live bets thanks to Tap Touch.
Yep.
And we got on first goal scorer of the third quarter and first goal scorer as the fourth quarter. But because we're on live radio, we couldn't talk about it on radio, but the whole pub had done it. So we're talking away, and it was a while. If you look at this game, it was a while to kick the first goal. Anyway, Paps is about to announce his quiz, and then suddenly there's this about 10 minutes into the third and fourth. We hit it both times. Big win for Port Adelaide, Skeeter. That's who we were on against this Carlton side who everyone up the top seems to be slipping and sliding out of the top 2 spots.
Exactly. Just recapping, after having those drinks, I went home, had some dinner and water and went to bed. So I did drink responsibly, as it turns out. I tipped Port Adelaide last Thursday. You probably forgot this. So you tipped the Blues. Remember that? I tipped Port. I think Jaden will just verify that. So I'm sitting very comfortably with that
Roughly
selection.
Of the week.
I wasn't when I was down by 31 points. I thought I'd completely butchered it. But yeah, Blues, I know people still say they're premiership fancies. I've got massive doubts about them, just on a couple of fronts. And Friday night, obviously, it feels like without having the big boys together in attack, they looked a bit shy in terms of their marking power. And, of course, their midfield grunt. I think Sam Walsh might be struggling a bit injury-wise. So they're workmanlike, but they lack a bit of that brilliance that the Port Adelaide side brought to the table, particularly after half-time.
Harry Mackay, there's a bit of
pushback on that.
Yep. Yeah, so we saw him get knocked out last week. We spoke about it on the podcast. We spoke about it in the media. He then trained, in inverted commas, and he was cleared the concussion. And then he was out with illness as a late out. The AFL asking for a bit of a please explain from Carlton on this one.
Yeah, fair enough. And I think Brisbane, I've got a feeling Brisbane's received a fine around that space as well. And was it Adelaide also questioned? 3 clubs were questioned last week by the AFL. Carlton being one of the more obvious ones that we saw last week. So Mackay misses, but let's not skirt around the bush here. They've got themselves in a pickle here now because they're in 4th position. They've got Collingwood coming up. Just
Hawthorn after that.
Yeah, so nothing's going to come easy for them, and just feel like they've tailed off a bit. Curnow with 3 goals takes him to 56. He should be winning, 3 consecutive Colemans.
Yep.
But, I just feel that Port Adelaide have found a way to get themselves back into the season. Georgiades booted 3. He was really good down. Houston's a good player. Sweet did a good job in the ruck. And, they're...
Just the 33 clearances for Carlton. So they got smacked in clearances. Smashed around the footy, so 90 tackles to 70. So
90 tackles is, if you're tackling 90 times, you're going to win. Well, not win. You certainly give yourself a chance to win plenty of games.
They can't get field position and they can't win the footy back. And even if they do, they're moving it from deep. And it's the same old story. So Carlton are in a bit of a spot of bother. They got Collingwood, which is a huge game. And Collingwood, make no mistake about it, will get themselves right up for that. So that's not a game that you'd be wishing on your worst enemy.
When is Scotty Pendlebury's 400th? That's the question. I'll get Jane to check that out. And
then Hawthorn. Then they got West Coast here. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
So West Coast here. It's not Collingwood at the G, but stranger things have happened. And they got St Kilda to finish off with. Port Adelaide on the
this week. Yeah, I thought so. 400. So it's 400. This is, you talk about to get themselves up.
Boy.
Good luck. That's what I was saying. I'm pretty sure it was this week. Blues on high alert.
Okay. Well done on picking that, Skeeter. Good job. It's the only pick you've got right this year, I reckon. Geelong defeat North Melbourne by 40. At Hobart, Harry Sheasel, this was a record-breaking game for him. I believe he had a part in 14 of the 16 scores that North Melbourne had. It's the all-time record by anybody over for a percentage of involvements in scores.
Geez, we look at lots of stats now, aren't we? Like that's an unusual one to bring up.
Mate.
Yeah,
he had 36 disposals, 25 of those contested. First teenager ever to have 25 contested possessions. That's a big game, Skeeter.
So let me ask you this: they've been beaten by 40 points. Tom Stewart, best for Geelong. In fact, he might be the coaching masterstroke of the season.
Yes,
moving from the defence to the midfield. You're giving me the big spiel on Harry Sheasel. Who gets the 3 Brownlow votes?
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't like looking at stats like 36 disposals, but the other ones tell me he had a bloody good game. Did I see a minute of this game? No, I didn't. No, I did not.
I love your honesty.
No, I did not. But I can look very clearly and see that he had a good game, Skeeter.
Well, you know what? We've been honest about this before. Where there are matches sometimes I don't see on the weekend.
Tristan Cherry had 54 hit-outs and 25 disposals. Does he get a vote, Skeeter?
That's a very good return. Bottom line is, neither of us saw the game, and the margin was 40, which is no surprise. Although they were pushed at times in this game, I did have my eye on it.
Our resident Geelong cat, Riley Nelson, who does the run sheets, tells me Ollie Dempsey, 3 goals, a lock for the rising star this year. Has George Wardlaw been reported for the trip? Has that happened?
No, but he was very good, Ollie. He's so good overhead, and I think he has to be.
What about George Wardlaw?
No, not George Wardlaw's a gun and may well win it, but I think Ollie Dempsey's in the conversation.
Well, Riley says he's a lock for the rising star.
There's probably no lock at this stage.
Riley's he's got his whiskers on, I reckon. Riley gets his blue and white colour
He's been very good though.
Brisbane defeat Gold Coast by 28. At Gold Coast first home game, the Suns lose. Brisbane go 8 in a row. Brisbane are back. Are they second on the ladder? What the actual?
They are, and I reckon they're almost premiership favourites.
Wow.
They have to be close. I mean, if they finish top 2, which is conceivable, they're there now, and it's theirs to lose. They've got a percentage advantage of 3% effectively.
They've got St Kilda. Thanks for coming.
In Melbourne, no.
Thanks for coming. GWS, big game.
Huge.
Collingwood in Melbourne.
Well, if Collingwood's out of the race, then Brisbane.
And then Essendon to finish off, and Essendon are just absolute pitiful organisation at the moment. So Brisbane, say it again, Brisbane premiership favourites. Go on. Don't say just about.
Brisbane will be premiership favourites, yes. And I had them written off after 6 weeks. I had them written off after 10 weeks, I'll be honest.
So did I. They were 14th and we couldn't kick a goal.
And we went to a lunch together on Friday, and Adam Simpson, you can ask different identities in the game who they think from here wins the flag. He was big on Brisbane. Yeah,
that's a very good point. I'm surprised you remember that, Skeeter. Decent way into the function. Okay, very good. I'm going to keep moving because I didn't say that.
By the way, I tipped the Gold Coast. You tipped the Gold Coast. I don't know why I fell in it. I changed the tip.
You had to. They're undefeated at home. You had to pick them.
No, I didn't. Well, Brisbane had won 7 in a row, so we were dumb. We were stupid, and we lost on that front.
St Kilda, we didn't need to tip Brisbane to figure that out, though. St Kilda defeat Essendon by 53 points. This is a bloodbath by St Kilda against Essendon. I am so proud of myself for spending at least a quarter of footy on radio about 3 weeks back just teeing off on Essendon, saying they were no good, saying that no one in it has it. I went through their list and just spoke about who doesn't have it, and most of their players don't have it. What do you say? Puparama. They are just no good, Essendon.
This is a trend for them in the last few years, isn't it? They've been able to start seasons well, and they just fell away. I mean, I think conceded 8 consecutive goals. After quarter time, it was 12 goals to 6, 10 goals to 3 after half time. And St Kilda, a team that notoriously can't kick a score, they've kicked 17. Mind you, they shot the lights out, 17-6. Caminiti, Sharman, Steele, all 3 goals.
All right, so what's the issue?
Shared it.
What's the issue at Essendon then? Because St Kilda, I don't think are that good either, but they've won by 53. I put him in the gun a few weeks ago. Sam Draper in the ruck is a real issue for them. He's had 9 disposals, 3 marks, 23 hit-outs, which, I mean, that's you just look at that and you think, oh, that's not the worst game.
But Rowan Marshall's
goal too. His opponent,
best.
1 goal, 26 disposals, 10 marks, 30 hit-outs, best player on the ground. So in the ruck, I was thinking about this walking to the game because I was watching my dream team scores. As a ruckman, I don't understand how you can let your man go and do that. It's very obvious who your opponent is as a ruckman. Midfielders, Sarong and Brayshaw can run around and you don't really know who's on them, and it's a bit of a team effort. The ruckman, if you want to, and you want to be a competitive ruckman, just go beat your man. Just honestly, just go run around on Marshall. Be competitive. Like, that's uncompetitive, and that sets the scene for the whole group. They don't have many competitive players, Skeeter.
Their last month has been really disappointing. I think I've given them, as you have, probably 3 out of the 4 matches. We've tipped them and thinking that there's got to be a bounce back here. There's too much on the line. They have not given a yelp on that front. And what's concerning, again, what we saw from them at the start of the year was their defensive capabilities. They've given up 100 points against St Kilda. That's another trend of them, which shows you that they've lapsed back into old habits, or they're certainly, Brad Scott is, he probably feels a bit clueless at the moment how to re-energise this group, because they're outside the 8 and it's hard to see them getting back in it.
Jordan Ridley, who we know has had big issues with a quad, so he's done it twice now. Clear Corky for mine. I've seen the replay, but they subbed him out almost instantly when they saw that. So I'll give him a pass because I like how he goes about it. He's got to be the first player that's been subbed out with a Corky, I reckon. He is a good player. Essendon gone. St Kilda, who knows? GWS defeat Melbourne by 2 points at the MCG. That's a big win for GWS.
It is, but 16,000 fans at the MCG. There were more people at the Leaderville Hotel watching you do your stuff on a Friday night. 16,000! You got GWS, who are inside the top 4, or inside the top 5. Melbourne fighting to play finals, and you get 16,000. Really interesting game. Obviously, this was coincided with our game at the Derby at Optus Stadium, so didn't get a clean look at it. But
why aren't Melbourne's fans rocking up to this? Like, I understand GWS doesn't have a big fan base. I understand that. Why aren't Melbourne's?
Do you want me to be a smartass? No. What is it? It's August, isn't it? What does that mean? It's snow season. It's skiing up in is it
Mount Buller and Mount Hawthorn and Falls Creek.
I thought it was a brave win by the Giants, albeit they kicked, I think, the first 4 goals of the last quarter. They were about 4 goals in front, and then Melbourne surged back in the space of 10 minutes. I think they found themselves down by 2, and the last minute or 2 was just hanging on for the Giants. But I think you mentioned this the other week that once you get the likes of Toby Green, Tom Green performing at their optimum, this team, the Giants, have got potential.
Where are they on the ladder?
They're 5th. They're the dark horse in the 8, in my mind, as we speak.
Yeah, well, I mean, they lost their way a little bit leading into it. Their percentage is okay. They're on the same points as Carlton, so their percentage out of 4th place. You've got the leading goal kickers in front of it. Where's Jesse Hogan?
Jesse Hogan is in second position on the Coleman with 53 after booting 4 at the weekend.
And
so
how many behind Charlie Kerner?
He's 3 behind Charlie.
Did you happen to see Harvey Thomas's effort in, I don't know what quarter it was?
I did not.
Running into an open goal. Jesse Hogan was in front of him.
Oh, yes, kicked it into him.
And he was like, give me the ball. Harvey Thomas wants to go and kick the goal. Little rookie, right? Little whippersnapper running around. And then Jesse Hogan did the right thing. I was like, right, okay, I'm going to get the fuck out of the way. It's between Jesse Hogan and the goal, and the little whippersnapper kicked it straight into him.
I saw that. Yeah, I did see that.
And then I think it was either Tom Green or someone after the game said, was asked about it, and he said, I reckon you might want to just give the hands to the bloke competing for the Coleman medal standing in the goal square by himself.
Yeah.
Giants run home, Hawthorn, Brisbane, Freo, Bulldogs. That's difficult.
Yeah, it is.
That's difficult.
From a Melbourne perspective as well, look, missing Petrarca, that's hurt them, but the one upside for them, I think Trent Rivers has been the shining light in terms of getting a young player to assume more responsibility and play a greater role. So he was close to their best player, young West Aussie. But Melbourne, I think, no surprise. They've been pretty brave. I mean, they haven't
lost that much, have they? I mean, they've just lost Christian Petrarca. People lose good players all the time.
Yeah, you're probably right. But they haven't been able to. Their forward line has been a problem for a couple of years now. And that's been defensively, they're pretty sound, but they still, at the weekend, what do they end up kicking? They kick 12 goals, I suppose. But yeah, they're a side that probably needs, some good young players, but their forward line needs some real spark, which they haven't got at the moment.
Nick Dacos is back. Collingwood defeat Richmond by 26, 42 disposals, career high, 12 clearances, 12 score involvements. He had a day against Richmond, who stuck around. 26 isn't, that's not a big beat by any means, but Collingwood don't do that, do they?
No, they never do. But, I mean, I was watching that game yesterday and they could have, put a 10-goal margin in, but as you said, they find a way just to make, whether it's allow opposition sides to kick late goals in the last quarter, as we saw yesterday. The Tigers managed to reduce it to 26. It was, a goal in the last quarter to Collingwood, 3 to Richmond. Tigers are lacking quality. No Nankervis yesterday certainly hurt them. Dacos boys clearly are the best out there.
Can Collingwood make finals?
I still say no, because I think their run home is hard. That being said,
they've got Carlton, Sydney, Brisbane, Melbourne.
That's really tough. I tell you what, though, I would not want to be, as I said, Scott Pendlebury's 400th game.
I'll be picking them this week. I'll tell you that right now.
They will be extremely tough to beat. And you know what? They're capable on their day of doing just that. I just haven't seen it enough this year continuously.
Carlton could be out of the 8 at the end of next round.
Serious?
Yep, absolutely. They could be out of the 8.
That'd be hilarious.
If Collingwood beat them. What is it arrogant by Adam Uze to just let Nick Dacos run around and do what he wants? Like, no one went near him all day.
Yeah.
Or are you trying to teach younger players what it's like to play a good game of footy or something? Why wouldn't you put one of your young whippersnappers on him and teach him a lesson?
No. Well, you've asked that question for 2 years. And some clubs have done it with success. Others, in Richmond's case, might not have.
We've heard Nick Dacos can't be tagged. He can be. We've seen it. We've seen it done. If you want to, you can. But no one wanted to at Richmond. That's why they're shit. Western Bulldogs by Sydney at 39. Skeeter just a little bit of Skeeter dies inside when I say stuff like that, because he's very traditional and mainstream. So just trying to get him into podcast land a little bit. It's okay, Skeeter. Nothing's going to happen. Western Bulldogs defeat Sydney.
Hang on a sec. Speaking of social media, I thought Dane Swan had the tweet of the weekend.
What did he do?
It was clean. It was funny. I can try and find it quickly, but in essence, he said.
You brought it up.
In essence, for the first time, he said, for the first time, we may not have any team win the flag this year. That was his. This might be the first year ever that no one wins a flag. I thought it was quite simple but clever.
It's quite clever from Dane Swan. Western Bulldogs defeat Sydney by 39 points. This is a big win.
Called this game, and they were completely dominant from the opening bounce. Inside 50s at one stage, first quarter 17-7. They kicked 5 goals to nothing essentially in the first quarter.
Why is Sydney so poor from the start? That's a pattern. That's not a...
No, you're right. And then midfield, look, Warner down. Shouldn't just point him out, but Heaney. They just lacked intensity around the contest. Every metric I think you could run past John Longmire this morning and he'd say cross.
I think you could be on something. Do you reckon they're in the hard training block? You said this last week.
I said it last week. Maybe it is, and look, they've still got a 6-point buffer. They'll finish top 2 barring a complete disaster, which is all you have to do. And you know how many times we've seen this in sides going back over the years? You go, oh, geez, the ladder leaders have lost 3 of their past 4. But you're right. I'm assuming
Port, Collingwood, Essendon and Adelaide.
They win their last 2. Who are the first
Port
2?
And Collingwood.
They probably win 3 of those 4, don't they?
Yeah, probably.
So nothing to be overly concerned about, but more like what I saw from the Bulldogs to be impressed with. Let's take the positive angle on this. And they were just enormous. And Jamara Ugle-Hagan kicking 4 goals. I think I asked you this question before about giving you a preference as to 3 or 4 forwards in the competition.
Still take Tracy
ahead of Jamar Ugle-Hagan. If you saw him yesterday, you'd have a second
Tracy.
Think. Yeah, so do I.
I saw Jamara. I saw his highlights.
He's very good. Adam Treloar, 40 disposals, very good. He
should be all Australian midfielder.
All Australian midfielders. They're hard to crack a spot in there.
You'd be putting him in front of Bond
at the moment. Yeah, Bont was still good. Libba was terrific, and his ability to win the contest. The Bulldogs are 8th, but they are a team, again, a bit like Hawthorn. If they make it to September, they're going to be pretty frightening if you get them on their day. And we've seen them against the Cats win in Geelong, against the Swans win in Sydney. They're 2 big victories. They've got a game against Melbourne at Marvel on Friday night.
Yep. They win that.
They win that, and they're, as
Adelaide, North, GWS. Like, it's not, GWS will be a big game at the last one of the year.
So, full credit to the Bulldogs. Completely deserve the victory, and Sydney with a few question marks given what they they delivered yesterday, and their forward line just outmarked early. Liam Jones just every intercept ball that came his way, he just swallowed it in the first quarter. And
was that his first game back for a while, Liam Jones?
Good question, not sure, but you saw immediately. I mean, what he brings, and you can see also why they want to help strengthen that defence by putting a Tom Barras there, but because they've got every other piece of the puzzle covered, Scully. They've got the midfield.
Mate,
they've got the forward line.
Rory Lobb was very good, wasn't he? 10 marks.
Rory Lobb was good. And they were dominant everywhere. Rory Lobb might have just saved his career inadvertently.
Yeah,
at the Bulldogs, I'm saying.
Yeah, he's reinvented himself as a dour backman, and I love it. Hawthorn defeat Adelaide by 66 in the last game of the weekend. Hawthorn keeps rolling. Matty Nix came out and said in the press conference after this is the worst they've been in a couple of years. Unfortunately, that's verbatim. So unsure who he thinks has the responsibility of that, but I don't think he'd be overly happy with how his team has developed. I mean, they haven't gone forward this year, have they?
No, they've taken a couple of steps. They've had a couple of decent wins, but no, their victory over Essendon sort of summarised their season. They were down by 3 goals, got up late, but their form is so fluctuating, and as opposed to Hawthorn, and the Wizard just bobbing up and doing his stuff. I saw Jack Ginnivan give the crowd another mouthful on the way through. But they also got the toilers in Day and Newcomb and these guys through the middle able to generate so much footy. Nash and McDonald, who are, again, under-the-radar players, but they're now just percentage outside the top 8. And this is a footy club that's, I think, made the whole world pay attention in the AFL. 19-10 they kicked yesterday. That's an enormous return. And, again, always looking a bit ahead, but they've got the Giants in Canberra. That is, again, just that's almost match of the round status.
I spoke to someone in Hawthorn during the week, Skeeter, and you know my contacts at Hawthorn, so you can figure out who I spoke to, and he said he is very much on complacency watch. Because you see it, you know how last week I said if Hawthorn start losing, everyone will get, they'll get annoyed with the carry on from Ginnivan and people getting photos in the middle of the ground, and people will start to not like it if they start losing. Well, someone in Hawthorn said that he is just well and truly on complacency watch, and that's what his job is, to make sure that no one gets ahead of themselves, make sure they keep enjoying their footy, make sure they keep winning and don't get ahead of themselves. And they still look like that to go and do what they did. They were challenged a little bit early, pulled away, looked good inside. I really like McDonald. I don't know. I just like the way he moves, and he's clean and he's quick inside and he goes in and out. He had 28 disposals and he kicked 2 goals. He's a bit of a player that, I don't know, you kind of look at him and go, where's he play? Is he in the middle? Is he forward? Is he just running around doing his thing? I like players
He's like an anonymous figure from outsiders, but obviously highly valued at Hawthorn. 10 goals to 2 after half-time. They completely spifflicated their opposition. And no, they did. And Hawthorn's, again, they've had so much success. It's funny that we're now sort of barracking for them to make the 8, but they would make September a whole lot more interesting.
Hawthorn have now won 11 of their last 14 games, and they finish with GWS away, so that'll be a big game this week. Carlton, Richmond, North Melbourne. So Richmond and North Melbourne to finish, you'd absolutely put them in the book.
Carlton.
Next 2 weeks are big for them to make finals.
The Carlton game is reminiscent of 1986 and 87, those great grand finals. If that's part of the MCG, which I'm pretty sure it will be, that will draw. We're getting back to that 80, 90,000
Mate, this is what I mean about Carlton not making the 8. I think Collingwood win this week. I think Hawthorn beat them, and they're well and truly not in the 8 after that. So then Carlton have got to go and finish off their last 2, and they play West Coast here and St Kilda. So you'd think they win those 2.
They win 2 out of their 4. They need to probably win 3 of their 4, don't they?
Yeah, they do. So who are they going to beat, Hawthorn or Collingwood?
Well, that's what they have to try and work out in the next fortnight.
Will Schofield, Mark Redding's Shelter Footycast. Skeeter, I've given you no warning, but hopefully you remembered. We're going to go through what we frothed on over the weekend. Frothtown, getting you all the good stuff, all the good beers. August 23 to 24, froth.town for your tickets. There'll be a shelter tent down there. There'll be lots of beers, actually. All the beers. Skeeter will be down there, sinking them all. Make sure you get down to froth.town. Plenty of stuff. There's activations, there's music, there's things to do. You can probably take the kids down there, I'm assuming, and just might have a little... No, I won't say that. Frothtown, August 23, 24. Tickets at froth.town. What do we froth on this weekend, Skeeter? I'm going first, just in case you steal what I'm going to say. I frothed on. Elliot Yeo is one of the most aggressive, physical, loves to put his nose into stuff on field. When there's fights going on, when there's scuffles, Elliot Yeo is usually first in there because he kind of plays like that. For him to go and get Harley Reid in effectively a headlock, right? At that time, he was a part-time footballer, full-time bodyguard for Harley Reid, and I frothed on that. I don't know if I expected it or not, but I was very impressed by the way that Elliot Yeo put his own piggery aside because he loves having a Barney. He loves going in and throwing his weight around and scuffling around. To do that and to put an arm around Harley Reid and to say, come with me, young man, don't bother with that, I frothed that, Skeeter.
Yeah, that's lovely sentiments there, Scully, and you're thinking about the derby. I'm going to, we're very insular here, but I know it's a footy shelter cast, but I'm going to go broader. I mean, you've got a froth on Ariane Titmus and what she has done at the highest level.
Tell me about it.
It's just enormous. She is being spoken about in the same breath as Dawn Fraser. She's humble, she's talented, she's just a star. So although we love our footy, let's be honest, it's next level what she's doing over there and these athletes.
Qualified first, I believe, fastest for the 200.
Yeah, Molly O'Callaghan just behind her in the semis. So that's all happening. But no, you talk about pressure. We talk about pressure in footy, going in, week out. These athletes have one moment 4 years apart. It's enormous.
That's why I lost my shit last night. Jess Fox, I was up at 2 a.m. watching her. She has never won the event she won last night, which is the K1, but she's been world champion it. So the last 3 Olympics, she's butchered. So they got down gates and up gates. The red gates, you got to come through backwards, like you've got to go against the current. Mm-hmm. And the last 3 Olympics, she's hit the last up gate. But one gate and it's cost her medals every time. And so watching her go through that, that's like a 12-year lead in. Her dad was commentating.
That's right.
Mate, I almost shed a bloody tear when she come across for gold, and she absolutely sizzled.
Yeah.
So I love the Olympics.
That was my Frosttown moment, by the way. And unlike Jess Fox, this Shelter Footy Cast is up the creek sometimes without a paddle. But anyway.
Will Schofield, Mark Redding, Shelter Footy Cast. All right, some questions to finish off, Skeeter. This comes in from Mac Harvey. What's Skeeter's real name?
No, I don't have one.
What is your name?
Like Madonna.
Mark Reddings.
Mark Reddings is my name. But what's his name?
Mac Harvey.
Mac Harvey. Is that M-A-C-K?
Yes.
Is that his first name? Is it Mac?
I believe so.
Okay, good on him. No, just checking. I mean, we're just asking each other what our names are. And I just wanted to know what Mac's... Is it McDonald? Is it Mackenzie?
Thank you, Skater. Stephen Del Hayes. Trading Barris now is actually a smart business decision. He likely won't be part of the next flag and could yield 2 first-round picks. Reason for signing Yeo is because as an unrestricted free agent, the club would get a second-round pick at best. If the Eagles can take pick 2 and 2 other firsts, that is what the rebuild needs.
Yeah, I have sympathy for that argument. I do. And you're so close to him. I saw the Facebook post about the love you have for him. And so you've got a very...
I think I've proven to be quite impartial with
inside view. But you can't not have a view about what he brings to the inner sanctum of the footy club, which we don't have that knowledge of. So I'm just talking from a footy sense. I think it probably is at least 50-50 to happen, and I think probably from the Eagles' point of view would not be the worst result for the next 5 years. Obviously, it'll be a massive loss on field next year, but I think from a football, where they're at, it probably is one of the only couple of triggers they can pull.
Well, I had lots of feedback from my thoughts on this situation last week, Skeeter, and I had lots of feedback from the Derby call, actually. People think that I'm against West Coast now. All I'm doing is talking facts. Everyone upset with me at West Coast. Your team's shit, right? Which is what I said. I called that Freo were going to win at halftime on the coverage. People weren't happy with that. It fucking happened. And then Tom Barris, I think West Coast already made their decision. I think that's happening. Yeah, I think West Coast have made their decision there. So people want him to stay, and people love him, including myself. But maybe it is a smart business decision by the West Coast Eagles, but I wouldn't be coming at me too often about that because I'll come straight back at you. Will and Skate. This is an email coming in, Skater. Hope you're having a great week. It started
It's
quite
Monday.
nicely.
It feels like a long year. That's what it is.
Really keen to get both of your opinions. Re Freo for the Shelter Footycast. If Freo have second spot on the ladder wrapped up or on or by round 24 in concrete, and Port Adelaide have to beat them in Optus to make the 8 in the same round, would Freo ease up their 22
No.
for a solid finals push
No.
or continue business as usual to ensure they get Port's future first rounder,
What?
another potential top 10 pick pending Collingwood that was traded to them at the end of 2023? Pretty fascinating, but still heaps of water to go under the bridge before round 24.
Who's that from?
I work in a bar at Subiaco Footy Club and would love to see you guys and any BackChat fans to come say hi if you come down to one of ours or an East Perth home game at Leederville. Hopefully there's an opportunity to have a beer together down the track. Kind regards from Mackenzie Mac Shepherd. That's quite a nice email, Skeeter.
So we've got two Macs getting in touch.
I believe so.
Bloke,
I don't
different
think so.
bloke.
No.
Okay.
So you're not happy with that?
No, just this talk of looking ahead
No.
to
You just win.
that's
Play to
not going
win.
to happen. You play to win, but also here's the real reason. Apart from, I understand that going back when Ross Lyon was coaching the Dockers and they rested players because they had to jump into a finals campaign. There's a week's break between the finals, so you don't want to be resting blokes in round 24, having another week off. That to me, that's why you play your best team. And if you've got someone injured or even slightly sore, absolutely give them a break. But if I would be surprised if the Dockers have a top 2 spot locked away heading into round 24. I think they'll be right in the mix for it, Scully, but being honest, I think they'll be scrapping and maybe in a good position, but I think they'll be going full tilt to win that game.
Well said, Skeeter.
And we'd love to have a drink down at the Subi in East Perth. Absolutely.
well
Good place to have a beverage.
Mac Shepherd, I'll be bloody down there. No worries about that. Shelter Footycast on socials. That's where you can find us. Footycast at backchatstudios.com.au. You can send us an email just like Mac did. Hang around, patrons. Skeeter's going to give us some exclusive news just after this. Have a good week, Skeeter.
Looking forward to seeing you on Thursday.